okay, parents, your kids are going to turn out just fine.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by FOCO. That's FOCO, F-O-C-O. If you are a parent of a child or teen with ADHD, you know how challenging it can be to keep them focused and engaged. FOCO is the all-natural solution for ADHD, whether it's for school, homework, or just everyday activities. FOCO helps your child or teen stay calm and attentive. Before trying prescription drugs like Adderall that can come with harsh side effects, I recommend you try FOCO. Visit ThinkFOCO, that's ThinkFoco, thinkfoco.com for more information. Welcome to the Your Kids Will Be Fine podcast. I am Dr. Michael Malopsky, board-certified pediatrician, parent of 7, and here on the podcast, as always, we strive to help parents filter the glut of information that comes at them from all sides, help them feel like they have more control over their parenting decisions, and help them feel less anxious about the parenting decisions that we do make, to know that your kids really will be fine. And today's podcast, we're taking a little bit of a departure from what we've been doing the last few weeks, going through ages and stages, to skip to a topic that's come to the forefront a little bit because of the time of year. We are now entering the post-holiday run and the second semester. And already in my office and in our mental health clinic, we are seeing families of high school age kids, 11th grade, 12th grade mostly, who are absolutely overwhelmed, feeling anxious, feeling depressed, and feeling overwhelmed with the college admissions rat race and the college admissions process. And there is, I know this affects lots of families, and I know that this is something that many, many families and young adults are dealing with. And there's no question that some of it is also a rite of passage for kids who feel passionate, and families that are passionate about their child's ultimate destination and college experience. But I believe that more and more I'm hearing and seeing that this process also can be quite a minefield and detrimental to kids' mental health. So let's talk about what that is. Let's talk about the main things that parents and families experience as the biggest pitfalls and issues that affect them during this time. And what are some ideas for healthy approaches that parents can take around navigating this era with your child? So when we talk about this issue, I think that there are three main areas that I hear over and over that parents express to me in different ways that seem to take up the most mental space in the room, both on the parent side and the kid side. So the first is, for many families, you're facing at this point probably the biggest life transition for your child. Most children haven't been living away from home for any extended period of time. Maybe some kids have been going to sleepaway camp for a few weeks. But your child is really being launched into an entirely new era of independent living, growth, and entering their young adult lives without the protective cocoon of your parents and your home. And that the decisions seem really, really big. And that this whole process of all that's going on and all the decisions and all the work that children have been putting in for a lot of cases their entire high school career seems to be, in general, though, not related to the outcome. The outcome is very opaque and it's not assured. In the end, you don't really have any control over what's going to happen with this massive seismic shift in your child's life and where that's going to occur. And I think that provokes an enormous amount of anxiety, because perhaps for the first time in their life, this is where they've never faced this set of conditions before where there is no assured outcome. So secondly, I think that the sheer amount of work that so many high school juniors and seniors have on their plate, between really hard classes, between standardized testing and complex applications to numerous schools, extracurricular activities that are not just fun, but in a lot of cases, really important and a big part of how they're being judged in their college application process. It can seem too much, that there's not enough hours in a day. There's not enough sleep. There is constant stress and strain and worry. And it's really hard to watch your kids struggle and go through this. And I know if you're anything like me, when your kids are having a hard time and they're struggling, our instinct is to help. We want to help. We want to see if we can take something off their plate. A psychologist that I heard talking about this process recently had a very astute insight, in that when it comes to these kinds of things, helping can be, not always, but can be the happy side of control. And so oftentimes it gives us as parents a sense of control in the process when we take things on and when we insert ourselves, whether or not it's helpful or whether or not it's maybe even wanted or whether or not it's making things better or possibly worse. But we often end up doing it because of what it makes us feel. And third is the peer group effect. On one level, there's the child's peer group. There's no question that kids talk to each other and kids get each other going and anxious and stressed about, oh, what this kid's doing with their application and these activities and what I'm doing and where I'm investing my time, and making kids constantly worry about, are they doing enough and are they good enough? And well, they're not doing exactly what another person is doing. And it's this constant stream of worry about, am I enough and am I doing enough, because of what I'm hearing from everyone else. And then I think equally as important, depending on your school community or your peer group, the parental peer group can be equally difficult. Parents tend to share with each other and talk about these things in terms of how they personally prioritize it. That, oh, my child's applying to these schools and my child is doing this and is accomplished here. And we've got this college admissions counselor and this college admissions help. And it can absolutely create an enormous amount of parental anxiety about, are we spending enough? Are we doing enough? Are we helping enough? Are we inserting ourselves enough? And that anxiety, there's no question, gets passed downhill to your child and can sometimes make things worse unintentionally. So what are some of the ways as parents that we can help navigate this and help our kids navigate it in a healthy way? And this is not a one-size-fits-all approach. Obviously, every family and every child is going to have different strengths and different priorities and different things that they themselves are focused on. But in general, I think one is giving your child as much autonomy and control in this process as is possible to do, so that they are the ones making the big decisions and that you are available and that you are make it clear that you're open and interested in providing guidance, providing advice, answering questions, but doing it with curiosity and doing it with an openness that isn't necessarily making your child feel that you have a particular investment or you feel that it needs to be a certain way for your purposes, and not necessarily what your child wants or thinks. So giving over as much as you can, as much control and autonomy in the process to your child, so they are the ones driving it along the lines that they feel are important. And when they ask for help or ask for guidance, approaching it with curiosity, I think helps minimize the downstream transferred anxiety and strain. 2, being able to remove your emotional investment from it in enough enough to be able to add balance to your child's views. Remember, these are still 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids. Their prefrontal cortex is not completely fully developed. Their emotional brains can definitely run away with them and make things hard to think about in a clear and rational way, that their life will not end if they don't accomplish their first choice or second choice, and that they will still be successful, valid, worthy people, whatever the outcome is. And that sometimes it takes the parent who is separate from the process, who is not themselves fully emotionally invested in the outcome, to be able to counsel a young person with a young person's brain who has a hard time filtering this in that bigger picture perspective. And providing the idea that failure is built into the process. This entire process, everything about it, you are set up to experience failure on some level, somewhere. There are going to be rare people who experience no failure and everything rolls into their lap. I commend them. They're obviously special people. But that's not what 90% of people who are going through this experience. Experiencing failure and rejection and being told that thank you, but no, is built into what this process is about. And being able to process that and accept it and move on to the next thing and not let it drag you down into despair and negativity, they're going to need a parental help with a solid, mature perspective to be able to process it in a positive way. So being that person in your child's life to help them understand that level of it is valuable. And start talking about it now and talking about their thoughts and feelings and that despite everything they do and their best efforts, things will not turn out exactly the way they want. And that is okay. And that doesn't make them less or less worthy or less valid. So I hope this helps. Really looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts about this. You can find us, remember, at yourkidswillbefine.com, where all the episodes are available. And also you can leave show comments and ideas. Remember our YouTube channel, Your Kids Will Be Fine Podcast. Also find us at every platform where you find podcasts. And we're looking forward to picking back up our ages and stages next week.